Okay, welcome to Transcend with Yafa, presented by Efrat, where every woman who wants to have her baby can. Today, we have a very, very special guest in our studio. He's not really a guest. He's a co-host with me in the studio, somebody who's very near and dear to me, my very own husband, Rabbi Niso Palti. And we are here today to talk about regular conversations that we have around our Shabbos table, that people who come every week, people sit there and they listen and they say, you guys need a podcast. Everybody needs to hear what you're talking about. And so here we are, let everybody eavesdrop into our casual Shabbos table conversations. And it might be a little deeper than the regular conversation, but that is what we like to elevate all of the things we do and our conversations. And I mean, we're not boring. We have fun too. We laugh too. But this is us. This is us. So welcome to our living room, dining room.
Thank you.
With a mic.
Amazing to be here with the great Yafa Palti.
Thank you. So, what are we talking about today? I think this episode is going to air in between Tisha B'Av and Rosh Chodesh Elul.
Right. So let's pick up on perhaps on the subject of achdus, which is so important. It's just really critical to the well-being of Am Yisrael, and it's kind of that one concept that we just are not getting. We don't give it enough importance, attention.
Maybe we don't really know what it is. Could that be?
That too. But as much as
I'm sorry, because I think we talk about it a lot. We're always talking about Avas Yisrael and Avas Chinam to combat Sinas Chinam, and we're talking about it. But are we making any changes? Do we know what it actually means?
Right, it becomes a little bit like other things superficial.
Yeah.
So many of us are like Baruch Hashem, Imir Hashem, Besas Hashem.
What does that mean?
And that doesn't really mean that we are so conscious of Hashem in our lives and everything, and or that we have so much bitachon or emunah. We just became a way
Lip
of talking.
service a little bit.
So this happens. It's easy to fall into a little bit of superficiality.
Yeah.
So this may be happening here too, but here with dire consequences.
Yeah.
Because the biggest protection that Klal Yisrael needs to have, it's achdus. I mean, that's clear, like all over the place. So many sources clearly state that achdus is indispensable for us to be able to have Hashem's protection. You can even see Rashi at the end of the Torah in Bezois Abracha, Bezot Abracha. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be saying it.
We have
Sephardi
total identity,
or Ashkenazi or
total identity crisis over here. We're like half Ashkenaz, half Sephardi,
so
all over the
one
place.
is going to come out this way and the other one that way.
That's real achdus.
Yeah, exactly. We'll mix
all
it up.
inclusive.
We'll mix it up.
Yes.
Oh, that's something to talk about, by the way.
Yeah.
Our identities and the secondary identities that we have created throughout our galus and whatever, But so Rashi says over there at the end of in Bezos Abracha, Vayibishurun Melech, of course, very famous pasuk, Tasef Rashei Am, Yachad Shiftei Israel.
I think that's a song that they made into a pasuk.
Oh, yeah. Good job. Whoever took that song and made it into a pasuk did an amazing job. Moshe Rabbeinu, I guess. So Rashi says that, when am I going to be Melech Aleim? Yachad Shiftei Israel. Only when they are together. And when Hashem is our Melech, is our King, so then of course we have His protection. But when we are not together, Hashem is just not interested in being our Melech. So, everything is depending on that.
That's
and
harsh.
Course,
that's tough.
Yeah. And of course, we just went through Tisha B'Av and the Churban because of Sinas Chinam. So, it's something that I'm not sure we give enough attention to. So it's worth it to give it a few minutes, of our
So let's talk about it. Let's define Sinas Chinam, because I think the way that most people understand it, I've been taught this since I'm 5 years old, and probably most of the people listening as well. Sinas Chinam means baseless hatred, when you hate someone for no reason. Okay? And I think if we think about this, it's not something we really relate to, and this might be the problem, right?
Right.
If I think, I don't think there's anyone I hate.
Right.
Definitely not for no reason. If I hate them, there's a reason.
Yeah, if you have
right?
a room
I
full
don't
of
hate
nice
anyone.
people and you ask them, so here, hate somebody. They'll say, yes, I hate Nasrallah, in Mahshemo, who's already gone. I hate, Ayatollah Khomeini or Bin
Hitler.
Laden. Whatever, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
But
it's not baseless.
not normal people.
Right.
Not normal people, and certainly not baseless.
Right.
So many people don't hate
So that's the problem.
anybody.
We think like, oh, the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed and it's still not rebuilt because people hate each other, but it's not referring to me because I don't hate anyone.
Yeah, so first of all, the baseless part. Like, we do need to know that if you actually hate somebody or, somebody bothers you a lot because of a good reason, they maybe hurt you in a very deep way, it's not like it wouldn't be great for you to be able to overcome it and take the high road, is that how you say it? And but that's not such a big avera. That's not such a big deal. The problem here was that it's baseless. It's chinam. There's no reason to it. But the most important word that's mamish lost in translation is
Sinna.
Sinna. So we're translating sinna as hatred. Hatred in English, just like in Spanish also. Odio. It's a very strong word. When I hate somebody, I want to, rip them apart or,
Hurt them.
Hurt them,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's what we say. We don't really hate anybody. But the real translation is not hatred. It's actually just rejection. Just the fact that I have, instead of feeling that you're my brother and sister, that I love you, that I'm there for you, just the fact that I feel that you are a foreigner to me, that I diminish you even in my heart, that's already the seeds of sinas chinam for sure. And we see from many sources. A classic one is Vayar Hashem ki snua Leah. And Hashem saw that Leah was hated. Yaakov Avinu hated Leah, or Leah felt that she was really hated? Of course not.
Well, we see from the psukim that Yaakov loved her.
Exactly. That's not even an Ava Amina. He wouldn't hate her. There's no reason to hate her either. But she felt rejected.
It was her narrative for her whole life.
She felt diminished.
Yeah.
She felt that she was secondary.
Yeah, she wasn't chosen first. And her whole life, she was the one who was going to get Esav, and her sister was going to get Yaakov.
She was a second-class citizen.
Yeah.
And that, if I feel in my heart that you are a second-class citizen, that's sinna.
Yeah.
If you feel that you are that, that's rejection. We see
Another.
Pirkei Avos.
Oh yeah.
Going there?
I was just about to say that. Yeah, Pirkei Avos, usna et harabanut.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean you have to hate the government.
Or the leadership.
It
just means that you should be...
reject a position.
Exactly. You shouldn't want it. You shouldn't want to have it. Pursue it. Exactly. Sometimes it falls upon you. You have no choice. You have to take it. So then you take it. Otherwise, you should be reluctant to go there.
That's right.
There's a certain, that's sinna. This is critical because all of a sudden...
it changes everything.
Everything changes. All of a sudden, we may find ourselves being much more hateful than we think we are.
Yeah, if we stop for a minute and say, like, yeah, I don't hate anybody, but do I reject people? Maybe I do reject people.
Exactly. And let me give you an example that I always give. Let's say there's this person, a Jew who is not observant, driving down the street and of Brooklyn, I guess, Lakewood, and so he sees this guy, with a black jacket, or in Eretz Israel, in Bnei Brak, the black jacket and the black hat and the 17 kids and, and whatever.
And he left half of them at home?
Half of them at home, and maybe they are not, maybe there's a little bit of not so clean. I don't know. So what is this guy thinking? Is he really thinking, oh my gosh, my brother, my Jewish brother, I love you so much, park the car, maybe I can help you. I can fit maybe 7 out of the 17 kids into my car to bring them somewhere. And here are some Kleenex for your kids, some tissues. No. What is he thinking? My gosh, why do you have to be like that? Why black? Why the hat? Why, why so many kids? All that stuff. That's all that criticism, all that rejection, all that you really feel like you don't want to be in the same place as him. That's mamish, sinas chinam. Why chinam?
Right.
Why chinam? What did he do to you?
Right.
Nothing. You haven't even spoken to him. You don't know who he is. You don't know what his life is like. You don't know what he's going through. Nothing. Right. Just because
he exists
makes you
differently than you do.
Yeah.
Makes you uncomfortable.
So
and then the opposite.
Thing, exactly. So then you see, you're walking on Shabbos to shul, and then you see a Jew on his car, in his car, driving somewhere, and you're like, okay, this guy, he's a goy, in the worst sense of the word, and that there is so much that's sinner. You're worth less than I am worth. You're not a good person. You don't care about God. You don't care about Yiddishkeit, but you really don't know anything about Him.
Right.
You never know if the guy may be an unbelievable Bal Tzedakah, Bal Chesed, and he was just raised this way, and he really doesn't know any better. You don't know when the guy is almost Shomer Shabbos already, and he's just driving, to his grandmother's house for, like in Mexico, that happens a lot, for dinner, because the Friday night dinner at grandma's became like another religion, whatever it is. But he's getting there, and he's made tremendous strides. You don't know anything about him, and you're just full of rejection.
Remember when we lived in San Diego and we used to walk to shul, and it was like a half-hour walk to shul, and we walked on a bike path. That was the way to get there. And all these people used to drive past us on their bikes, ride past us on the bike, and they would be like, Shabbat Shalom,
Oh, and the guy there, Happy Shabbat?
Happy Shabbat. Happy Shabbat.
That was funny.
They would just bagel us left and right. They were so excited. Look at me, I'm Jewish. They wanted us to see that they cared, that they were aware. But these are great examples, but they're actually extreme examples, because we're talking about secular and not secular. How about even within our community?
Right. So there is
somebody's a little different than we are.
It's super important to get there, because then we have rejection between Sephardim and Ashkenazim. This is just real in many communities, in many families, in many of us, in our minds, in our hearts. I hear it all the time from good people who have a tremendous Torah education and even the way, me as a Sephardi, very often who have been surrounded by Ashkenazim, I have heard many things that are, the only word for it is discriminatory. Really feeling that, we Ashkenazim are first class, they are second class, or vice versa also have seen. So Sephardim all of a sudden feel that, we are. And it also goes down, and I feel it's interesting. People who are generally humble, but all of a sudden I feel that there is a tribal arrogance.
Yeah.
He himself doesn't feel that he's such a big deal or, special, better than anybody else. But he does feel that my group of people within Klal Israel are like
elite.
Special, elite, and better. We are better.
Superior to
not
others.
just Ashkenazi Sephardim, and within, all of a sudden among Sephardim you have Moroccans, and you have Iraqis, and you have Turkish, and you have Syrians. And when you see all these people who are like, we're better than them. And, of course, people sing from the outside, probably are laughing like,
they're like,
all
what?
sound
Aren't
the
you all
same.
the same? Not all Sephardim are created equal. People don't realize that. They think we eat rice on Pesach.
Yeah, we actually don't eat rice on Pesach.
We don't eat rice on Pesach. I didn't know that before I married him.
Yeah, she should have known.
I don't know what I would have said had I known.
If she was going to marry a Sephardi already, at least one that is rice on Pesach.
Right?
Make it worth it. I don't know.
You hid that from me.
So
you kept it from me on purpose.
No, not willingly, but,
I'm kidding.
Effectively, not willingly. I guess it's good I did. Yeah, but
among all of us, among all of our sects and cultures, there are so many different groups.
There's different groups of Hasidim, because I also hear a little bit here and there, that like, we are better, we are Bovov, we are Ger, we are Sadmer, we are Chabad, we are whatever it is. And all of a sudden, my group is better than your group. And a person from my Hasidus, he's really my brother, my sister, but you're different. You are somebody else. And also within the Litvaks and Hasidim and the whole entire thing.
We got you all covered.
Yep, got you all covered. And unfortunately, there is still going on. And we don't learn, because in 2,000 years.
Yeah.
So there is between religious and unreligious, there is between different sects between Klal Israel, and all of a sudden thinking, and know this. Just like there is no human being who is perfect and who has everything going and all strengths and no weakness. Everybody has weaknesses.
Of course.
Among the different eidos and the different groups of Jews, the same thing is true.
Yeah.
We all have like Milos and Chesroinus.
Yeah.
We're not the best at anything. There is no one group of Jews that's actually the best at everything. It doesn't exist.
We're all still human.
Exactly. And if we would only allow each other to meld and then to learn from each other with a little bit more humility, then we will become so great.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of this is subconscious, by the way. I don't think people wake up in the morning and walk around all day, thinking, "Oh, I'm superior to them," and I'm better. Of course not. It's subconscious. It's something that is deeply embedded within us that affects the way we see others and the way we treat others and the way we move through life, even if it's not front and center of our mind regularly. And that's something that I think we need to dig deep to figure out. Is that within me? Is that the way I see life? Is that the way I see myself? Is that the way I see my brothers and sisters in Klal Yisrael?
Exactly. Yeah.
The question is, where do you think that comes from? Is that just part of our humanity? Or does it come from something deeper? Is there fear? Is there ignorance? Is it a mixture of both?
It also comes from a lot of, I guess, in a very deep way, but our insecurities.
Yep.
When you have proper I don't know if the word self-esteem is the best word, your own self-worth, your self-value.
Mm-hmm.
And the deeper and more authentic that self-recognition is, the less likely you are to have the need to feel better, special than anybody else. You just know that you are created with Tselem Elohim.
Yeah.
And that you have an neshama that's chelek Elokam Imal, and a piece of God, and you're part of Klal Israel, and you are a Bas Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and that should be enough. That should be enough to really feel as special as you need to feel, and you have a great purpose in the world, and there is a Creator who created you deliberately and loves you and believes in you inherently.
Yeah.
So when these things are clear to us, then we may feel even subconsciously less of a need to play this game of being better than, different than. And in Klal Yisrael, admitting differences takes a certain maturity,
Mm-hmm.
because actually it's when we become small. The way they do in Mexico, it is, when they just got from the old world and they came to Mexico like 100 years ago, different communities. So they wouldn't marry each other, Ashkenazim and Syrians mainly, and Sfardim. And a lot of it was like, we speak Yiddish and we eat gefilte fish. So you don't speak Yiddish and you don't eat gefilte fish, you're now one of us. All of a sudden you reduce Yiddishkeit to those
Just
things.
something so superficial.
Yeah, I mean, David HaMelech didn't eat gefilte fish or speak Yiddish. Right. It doesn't have to be. And then the other way around also, maybe they were like, they eat kippah, the Syrians eat this delicious food with kippah, and we speak Arabic. And if you don't do those things, so we allow externalities, superficialities, things that are artificial, not important, to dictate the differences when the differences really don't exist. And the deep brotherhood that has to exist among us just all of a sudden goes. And and this amplifies to all of Klal Yisrael.
Yeah.
Right and left.
Everyone, all across the spectrum, because there's a tremendous array. There's a smorgasbord of Jews, and everybody is beautiful and everybody is here for the same reason and the same purpose. And I think that we can get past the external biases sometimes when we really get to know others.
Right.
If we allow ourselves to get to know them.
The word prejudice comes from prejudgment.
That's right.
Judge them before you actually have the facts.
Exactly.
I don't know you, and I'm already starting based on some externality. I make a bunch of judgments, and many of them...
Many times they're wrong. We've had experiences like that.
Right.
We've had people stay in our home where, we have people come all the time, and we're so thankful. We love that.
From communities that are like so foreign to us, and that we thought actually were so much more foreign.
That's the key. We thought.
Than all of a sudden, once we got to meet them, and they were like, "Oh my gosh,
wow, they're really the same as us, right? They may have different minhagim and on the outside and look differently, and
they don't fit the stereotype, the negative stereotype, certainly." And
there's negative stereotypes of every community.
Right, and maybe some people do, but give them a chance.
Right, for sure. And it was just so, it's such a beautiful, eye-opening moment when we sit there with people from all walks of life who come through our doors, and we're all the same. We all have the same desires. We all have the same goals, and we want the same thing from life. Everybody wants love. Everybody wants connection, and everybody wants truth.
It's Klal Israel for
And
sure. And
yeah,
remember that time when I was when I traveled to Mexico for when you were in your 9th month.
oh yeah. Okay, you have to tell the story.
Okay.
Everybody, buckle up. This is
Yeah.
a story. Well, I'll set the scene. We were living in Eretz Israel. Okay, at the time we had 2 babies. I was in my 9th month with our 3rd child, and this was Erev Sukkot. My husband used to go to Mexico every year. Remember, we were living in Eretz Israel, super young. I was all alone over there, but he went every year between Rosh Hashanah and through Yom Kippur to open up a second minyan in his community. And when I say second minyan, I'm talking about a minyan of 1,200 people who these were Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur Jews, and they needed a place to daven. And then he would learn with them throughout the week, throughout the whole Asar Simei Tshuva, and give shiurim and connect with
Well,
people.
mainly, yeah.
Right?
Around the minyan on that day
And
was,
run
I
the
guess,
minyan.
important enough, so they flew me back for that.
Exactly.
And if you remember, I went to Rav Chaim Kanievsky that time to ask him. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, I went to ask him if I should go to Mexico because you were in your
I was in my
9th
9th
month.
month.
So,
Yeah.
Nish Pashut, and he said that I should go because, Zikui Arabim is a big deal, whatever. So I went.
Exactly. So he went. And so to have in mind, this is what we're talking about. Then after Yom Kippur, he gets on the plane to come back so he can be home in Eretz Yisrael with me and the kids for Sukkot. So
Right.
here's what happened.
So I'm flying back, and right after Yom Kippur, and my flight is through JFK. And so that same night in JFK, my sister-in-law was getting engaged. And she had
Right.
lived by us in Eretz Israel, and we were close. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I really just wanted to go say Mazel Tov. So somehow...
Meaning my sister.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So somehow, and I'm figuring, in my small Mexican mind, I'm like, okay, it's like 20 minutes away. I have
JFK
like
from
3
Brooklyn.
hours. I have like 3 hours for the connection flight
The
to
stopover.
Israel. If somebody comes to pick me up quickly, I'll go. So somebody came to pick me up, and I ran over and I said Mazal Tov, and it was beautiful. And then on the way back, we hit traffic. They were doing work on the belt. We hit traffic. We got there late. We got there the flight was leaving, I think, at 12, and we got there like 10 to 12, quarter to 12. We begged, we cried, and they wouldn't let me in anymore. So I got stuck in New York, and because there's just 3-4 days between Yom Kippur and Sukkot.
Yeah, that's important
And
to understand. There were like
exactly.
3 days for you to get there.
And
Yeah.
everybody's flying, so all the flights were booked solid. There was nothing else to do. This was a lull. The next morning, I wake up, I go there early to try to get in the first guy on the standby list to try to get into the flight. This is 4 flights on that day, and I'm the first guy trying to check in on every single flight, and at the end of every flight, they just announce, these are people who didn't make it, and they announce my name. And the whole entire day went through. Actually, I got some food for some family from Miami that asked me if
goodness.
I had any food. I don't know why.
Wow.
And they gave me a sandwich. Well, it was nice. So then,
So you're there the whole day. 14 hours pass.
yeah,
At
14
this point, and
hours.
you're trying to get
from
onto
like
every
6
flight.
o'clock in the morning, and this is like going on to 12. Last flight,
Yeah.
first guy to check in. And finally, 12:30, they close the flight, and they announce who didn't make it. And they announce,
Also, even more than 14 hours.
yeah,
Wow.
Palti, you didn't make it. Okay. By the way, in the middle, for some reason, the manager at that point of El Al just did not want to let me into the flight. I offered. I said, let me give you $1,000, and you'll offer it to somebody. I need to make it home for my wife. She can give birth at any moment. She's like, that's not the way it works. She just was not willing to do anything to help in any way. And it was tough. It was really tough. I tried to look another airline, anything. Everything booked solid. There was nothing else. No other way. There was one chance, I remember, to make it before Shabbos, but it was too close to Shabbos, so I couldn't fly either. So I'm sitting over there. The guy says my name. I go over to the counter, and I said, okay, just give me my suitcases. I'm going to go home. I called your mother, my mother-in-law, and I said, if you have somebody who can come pick me up. She's like, sure, I'll send somebody. And meanwhile, the guy tells me, wait. Seriously, I've been waiting here for like, I don't know, 14, 15 hours. And you guys know that you have not been helpful at all. Just give me my bags and let me go, you know? And all of a sudden, just 1 second, just kind. And all of a sudden, he gives me, instead of my suitcases, he gives me a boarding pass. I'm like, what's this? He says, a boarding pass? Just go. You have a seat on the plane. I said, what do you mean? You just announced that I don't. How is this possible? So he said, you see that girl over there? She heard your story and she decided to give up her seat for you.
It's incredible. Make sure you mention that a lot of people saw you there the whole time.
There was like this group of
Right.
like, I don't know, 40, 50 people also on like the standby. I called it the standby club, you know.
So they knew what was going on.
Yeah, and my story was certainly the most dramatic of them all, why they need to try to get
Exactly.
to
They're
Israel
just going to Israel, but
as
you
soon
have
as
a wife
possible.
with
I have
two
a wife
babies
about to give
about
birth,
to give
whatever.
birth.
She's
Yeah.
alone over there, and people heard. So her name,
Yes. So she heard what was going on,
she heard what was going on.
and she
And she
her
offered her seat.
seat to you.
And actually later I found out her name was Ariella Parker
Yeah.
from I think Cincinnati or Cleveland, and she actually, this manager, when she went to offer her seat, she said she was like upset because then she was gonna lose because I was gonna
You were
travel.
going to win. Yeah. She just didn't want
And
you on
she
that
actually,
plane.
she actually told her, if you don't go right now, then I don't know if I can put you on the next flight. I don't know when I can put you. And the girl actually answered, look, he has to get home to his wife right now. If I don't fly tomorrow, so I didn't. If I don't fly in 2 days, I didn't. I'll get home. I'll get to Israel when I get to Israel,
Pretty amazing.
but he has to go home. So I get this boarding pass. I go to try to clear security. She calls this manager, she calls security, and she says, don't let him through. She canceled my boarding pass.
It's crazy. She just needed. Sometimes you
I
give
don't
people a little bit of power,
Yeah, I
and
don't
they
know.
just wow.
It was sad.
Just
So I came back, I was pretty upset, but Baruch Hashem, I was
Yeah.
taught always to watch my mouth, and I couldn't say anything of the juicy stuff that somebody else may have said. I'm like, just like, would you do that for your own daughter? Like, that was lame.
You know-
That was so lame.
But you know what else to say? You were just like,
Yeah, it was like
this-
so frustrated.
It was such an injustice,
It was a very big injustice.
and that was the real upsetting part of it.
Then something
Like,
amazing happened. First
Yeah.
thing amazing that happened, in Israel, people, we all scream. But, and we all body into other people's lives.
Yeah.
In New York, in America, in Mexico,
Keeps
not
themselves,
really. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. But one lady from our standby club, she couldn't take it anymore. She started publicly yelling at the woman, at the manager, and says, you're not fair. Why don't you just let the guy go home to his wife, to whatever? And she's saying he lost his flight. And she's
Missed
like,
this flight. Yeah.
oh, well, yeah, well, missed the flight. And she's like, okay, people miss their flights. Things happen.
Exactly.
But it's
gonna
going to be
punish him
true.
forever?
So these managers started already getting embarrassed and worried that there is backlash against her for the way she was being. So she like makes believe I need to speak to the pilot. Nonsense.
The pilot.
The pilot, like he's controlling the
He
seats.
could care. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, she ends up giving me my boarding pass, and this time I made it into the flight. And
Everybody's clapping and
everybody-
cheering.
yeah, and then I sit next to this guy, and I said, I need to call my wife to let her know that I'm on my way.
Yeah.
And
This was before cell phones.
yeah, before cell phones.
We didn't have, so I had no idea what was going on. I just knew he wasn't getting on a flight, but I was sitting there. There was no update. And finally, you get on the plane.
So he has his mother in first class with a satellite phone and fancy big thing like this, and I call you, and then you know that I was on my way, but lo and behold, 5 minutes later, who walks into the flight? Ariella Parker comes out. There were 2 seats in the flight.
There was room for you and room for her.
Amazing. Anyways, comes out because we invited Ariella home. Remember, she came to visit us
our home,
afterwards
yeah.
for some coffee and tea and whatever. She was, what do you do? She's a Hazanit
In a conservative shul.
in a conservative shul who was going probably, if I remember correctly, to Solomon Schechter, which is a conservative school in Israel, to do her whatever. And I was left thinking when she came home, by the way I remember perfectly the way she made the brachos. Her Shakol Nia Bidvaro, Boremin Mezoinos. Then she took out her little book to say
Alamechia.
Alamichia with Kavana. That's pretty amazing. And I was left thinking, she's a conservative Jew. Maybe at some point I would not have, have thought you have so many differences. She doesn't.
It would have been an assumption.
Yeah, an assumption. And yet she did a chesed that I'm not sure I would have done.
That's right.
I'm not sure all of us would have done. And you never know where you find the beauty or when you have
100%.
the light. And you don't know what those Jews have inside and what they're willing to do. There was tons of Orthodox frum Jews on the flight.
Right.
And there was tons of them who hurt. And
this isn't a judgment. No one is
yeah,
obligated
I'm not
to do
judging
that.
any of them. I don't know if I would have done it myself.
Right.
The point is, who
The point
did it?
is, who's the one who
the
did
one
it?
that yesterday I may have discriminated against in my heart, that I may have felt that is not as valuable. Maybe she's,
That's right.
in the eyes of Hashem, maybe even more valuable than I am. Then who are we to know? Who are we to judge? Who are we not to love? She actually showed that to her,
A Jew is a Jew is a Jew.
a Jew is a Jew.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I know, it's really incredible. We have so much hakaras to her. By the way, we've been looking for you, Ariella Parker. If you're watching this, we still talk about you. So, get in touch with us. I Googled her a few times. I can't find her. So, yeah, it was just such an incredible chesed and such an eye-opening moment.
Yeah.
Such an important lesson,
And there's so many like this. That's the truth.
And by the way, just for all of those people working at the airline who made your life so much harder than it had to be, just another important point, it is so easy to help somebody. It is so easy to make somebody feel good and to just smile at someone and to just try to help them in whatever way you can. Just try.
Give in a little bit. I understand sometimes there is rules that you really cannot break, but always there is a little bit of leeway.
A little bit of leeway.
And even if we feel that you're willing to
just the way you talk to someone and the
negotiate
way you treat
a little
them.
bit,
that
100%. You care, you make a big difference. You make us feel better.
Absolutely.
Even if at the end of the day we pay another $45 or $70 for having 2 more pounds in the suitcase. It is what it is.
Exactly. But in general, it's a lesson for all of us.
But this feeling of really feeling that every Jew in the world is my brother and sister.
Yeah.
And I made this, this is a key point. I don't need to agree with you.
Right.
Or be identical to you to love you. I disagree. I may think you're wrong. I may think that Ariella is wrong about certain things and that I'm right. And nonetheless, shouldn't make any difference.
100%.
I should love her like she's my sister, and I should be willing to go the extra mile. She actually went the extra, how many miles?
She went
from
many extra miles,
from New York
6,000
to
extra
Israel.
miles. Yeah.
She went the extra 6,000 miles for me,
Yeah.
and I should be willing to go that. And that feeling of a profound, identify with each other, and I think that's critical. And again, it's easier with the people who are just like you, identical to you. So, they speak like you, they eat like you, they everything like you. That's
not what true unity is. Because if I love you or connect with you because you're just like me, then that really means I'm just loving me, and because you're an extension of me.
I haven't broken the
Yeah.
hold of selfishness.
Exactly. It's still about me and my ego. I love you because you're an extension of me.
Exactly.
True unity, by definition, is the unification of opposing forces or opposing energies. That's what unity actually is. When you are able to connect with someone who is specifically different from you.
Beautiful. Do you all see how beautiful she says things? Imagine. But what's the proof?
I speak English.
Wow, that was low. I speak Spanish that sounds like English, I guess, and whatever. I try. But how do we know that's true? Ose shalom bimromav. Why ose shalom bimromav? Yaseh shalom aleinu? Because in Shamayim is esh umayim. And that's the real shalom, when it's the opposites, fire and water, that usually completely contradict each other. That's the true shalom.
And they're uniting as one.
Amazing.
That's what it is. I mean, the perfect prototype for this is Hashem himself. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hashem is Echad. He is one, but Hashem is the synthesis of all opposing energies. He's Chesed, He's Din, He's Gevura, He's all the Spheros, He's all the Midos, He's everything. And yet He's Echad. That is what true unity is. Unity is not sameness. That's ego. Unity is specifically when there is someone who's different than you are. And I have this often with I have coaching clients. I do a lot of relationships coaching, marriage coaching. And so many times people say this is usually the wife, okay, usually the woman who says, why can't my husband just be a little more like me? Why can't he just do things the way I do them, right? The way I do them is right. Why does he think differently? Why does he do it differently? Why does he, and I understand the frustration, but I say to them, if both of you were exactly the same, one of you would be obsolete. The whole point
Exactly.
is for you both to be different and bring both of your energies together into this relationship.
I mean, you did it. You went and you married a Mexican Sfardi, certainly, all the way out, right? But yeah, and then we can complement each other, and then we're
Yeah.
really greater than the
100%.
sum of our.
Even in our home, we have different styles of discipline. We have different styles of chinuch. Our values are the same, right? But the way we go about them is not necessarily the same. And in the beginning of our marriage, and when we had young children, it bothered me a lot, right? The
Me
fact,
too.
right, it bothered you and it bothered me. Like, why are you too lax, or why are you too disciplined, or why, right? And then I think we had this understanding that both are necessary. They need a little bit of your approach, and they need a little bit of my approach together.
Yeah, it's taken a while, but
Yeah, it took us a few
that's
years
what
to
growth.
get that.
That's what growth is, and being willing to accept those other middles from somebody else and a different approach. But that's really what it is all about.
Yep.
Because if you just want to be stuck in you, then you're going to be very lonely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So remember that other
And-
story that happened to me, that which shows that feeling of, you're my brother and sister. So I'm sitting I'm flying from Mexico to New York. I think to catch up to you. I forgot if it was one summer or something.
It's always
And,
at the airport.
It's also at the airport.
Yeah.
So I'm
So
sitting.
I was in New York already with the
You were in
kids,
New
and you
York.
were catching up.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I'm at the check-in counter, and there's a lot of people there. And all of a sudden, this lady, an older lady, just walks over to me in English. How does she
This was
know
in
this?
Mexico,
In
right? Who speaks
Mexico,
English,
yeah,
right?
Mexico City. And she's in English. She's like, so, how's the weather in New York? Like, do I look like a weatherman or something? Like, what are you talking about? So I'm like, oh, no, my wife told me that it's pretty nice, something like that. And then she starts talking. Of course, she just took off from there, and she clearly was not observant, or whatever it is her name was. I remember her, Leah Poller. So comes out that she's an artist from Soho.
Nice.
And then she starts telling me right away. She's like, oh, by the way, my daughter, Michelle, is here. She lives in Paris. She's on her way back to Paris for whatever, and she needs a shidduch. Typical Jewish mother. She just saw me for the last 15 seconds. She's already trying to see if I can get a shidduch.
How'd you know
for
you were Jewish?
Yeah, how did she
What
know?
gave it away?
Must be my nose. So, and she, and then, how things are, Siyata Dishmaya. So we end up sitting exactly together on the flight, and we schmoozed all the way to New York and whatever. So we got a little friendly. But the question is, why did she approach me? There's another, 25 people, 30 people online over there. Because she saw a brother.
Yeah.
And that's even though, we're not identical. She saw a brother. I have a brother right there. And then that's in flight. I land in JFK, and I'm outside. I don't know if you guys remember, at that point, JFK was like a mess outside of Delta. I'm just waiting there on the street for you to pick me up. And we are 40, 50 people over there waiting for our ride. And this Hasidic guy, he just walks right past all the people who are there, comes close to me. He just whispers in my ear, "You need a ride." And I'm
Love it. I love it.
Thanks, but my wife should be here any minute. But why does he never saw me in his life?
And he passed by 40 other people to
Yeah.
get to you.
Yeah, why does he stop by me? Because he saw a brother.
He saw a brother. I love that.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what we need. That's what we need now more than
Yeah.
ever. Because that's the only way to make this end.
Yeah. And I actually always feel that. Do you feel the same way whenever I'm traveling? I travel a lot. Whenever I'm traveling, as soon as I see, I could be in crazy random places or just on a plane that makes no sense for any other Jew to be on, and I see a Jewish person walk on, and I just feel good. I'm like, oh, I have a brother here, I have a sister here.
Totally.
Like, I love it. It's such a
Totally.
great feeling.
I remember my father was, he was like that too. He just loved Jews.
Yeah.
Anywhere he was, he always preferred to do business with the Jew. He didn't care about, if the price. Usually he would be pretty careful about the price and haggling and trying to get. But when it came to, dealing with his brothers and sisters, it was like, that was always his favorite. He always enjoyed so much having that. And absolutely, that's how we are supposed to feel always.
For sure. And it's usually reciprocated also. When you look around and see people who are loved by others, people who are just generally a beloved person, usually it's because they love other people.
Right, so that's Shlomo Melech, right? Kamayim hapanim el panim ken lev ha'adam la'adam.
right.
Just like the faces reflect upon the water, so to the heart of one man unto other.
Yeah.
So, yes, the people who love are the people who are loved.
Who are loved by others. Absolutely.
And then we don't know, there's people that we all love, and we don't really know why I really like this guy, this person. And sometimes it's because they love you, because they love
100%,
others, they
because
see the
love
good in others.
It's an aura that they project. It's an aura of love. And I like that. I love using the word aura, especially because it has the word R in it, right? It's just like they shine a light when they just love other people. And it is reflected and other people feel it and they're just drawn into them and brought into them. So if you want to be beloved by other people, start loving others.
Exactly. See the good in others.
good
There's
in
so much
people.
good to see. It's just, if you feel...
Well, that's really the key. That's what it is, I think. That there are two truths that exist in the world, in every one of us, in every scenario. There's two truths. I always say in my marriage classes, I always tell them that we live in a 2-story home. My story and your story.
Yeah.
Right? There's 2 stories, but there's also 2 truths. Like, we are walking contradictions. I could be feeling at any given moment, I can be happy and I could be sad simultaneously. That's okay, right? Ever laugh and cry at the same time, right? We could be scared and we could be brave. There's so many contradictions within us. And even in the way, we love our children more than anyone in the world, but they also exhaust us sometimes, right?
Totally.
And that's with everyone.
They are our biggest pleasure and
our biggest pain. 100%,
Exactly.
right?
I hope the kids are not listening to this
Oh,
part.
they're not going to watch this.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, cringe.
Exactly. Oh.
But there are 2 truths two things can be true at the same time with everything. So if you look at another person, let's say I have a friend who's always late, and I can say, oh, she's always late. She's always late. I can be so frustrated. Yeah, it's true. She's always late. But what else is true about her? She's super generous with her time, right? Or she's super generous in general. That's also true about her. You can say, my husband is such a terrible communicator. Maybe it's true he doesn't communicate very well, but what else is true about him? He's also very thoughtful and always brings something that he knows I'm going to love, or always helps around the house with something. And it could go on and on.
Yeah, there's no end to it.
There
is always goodness. And you can see that from, like by Tzaras, we see that if you just have a small nega, a small blemish, so then the Kohen can tell the person that he's tameh,
right,
and get him out of the machane and whatever it is. And yet, if somebody is completely covered from head to toe with Tzaras, then the Kohen cannot declare him tameh. Because if he doesn't see anything good, he's not seeing right. There's something wrong with
his eye.
With his eye.
The nega.
The nega, the ayin, he's not seeing right. And there's so much good. And also, perhaps already kind of to end, but, not to demonize other people, not to demonize other groups. All of a sudden we're like, the Zionists or the religious or the...
We categorize people.
And we just, all of a sudden, they become something, not someone.
Yes.
And they also become all evil. And they can, even when we see they do something right, we cannot accept that they do something right. There has to be a reason. That's cynicism. That's leitzanus.
That's right.
And a leitz is not mekabel pnei shechina. And we shouldn't be like that. We should be able to recognize the good where the good is. There was this... head of one of the most secular parties in Israel, and who on October 7th, the guy is older. He used to be in the army, of course, but now he was like 67. He must be like between his 60s and 70s. He just got his handgun and he just got into his car. He just, as opposed to many other people, he just drove all the way south to save people. So say whatever you want. We disagree with probably 99% of his ideas, and whatever you want, you can't take that away from him. He risked his life. Actually, soldiers stopped him and they said, you cannot go through, you're going to put your life at risk, it's very dangerous, there's terrorists all over the place. And he said, I don't care, I have to go.
Wow.
So there's goodness everywhere.
Absolutely. And I think that would be a very good way to end this podcast about transcendence, right? So what can be a challenge in how to transcend this moment, this idea, this concept that we've been talking about. And I think that's what we can do. We can, I think, recognize that there are two truths to everyone and within ourselves, right? Even within me, what am I choosing to focus on? Because whichever truth I choose to focus on, I can say about myself, oh, I'm so, fill in the blank, right? I'm so disorganized. Okay, maybe that is one truth about me. But what's another truth? I'm also super creative, and I'm also fun to be around, and whatever that is, you fill in the blank, right? They're both true. Which is the truth that I'm going to focus on? But what about my spouse? What about my children? What about the people around me in my community? Other people that I meet? Two truths. Whichever one I focus on, that's the one I'm going to define them by, and that's going to determine
and you need to accept yourself.
How I connect with them. Yeah. And you need to what? Accept yourself.
Exactly.
You have to accept the full package.
The
all
full
the parts.
package.
All the parts. That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. They're all true.
also a full package.
And package of everyone.
Exactly. And accepting ourselves as we are and loving ourselves regardless of our strengths and weaknesses. Yeah. It's critical to be able to have a successful life.
For sure. This is how Hashem made us. He made each person. None of it was a mistake. Hashem doesn't make junk, right?
Perfectly imperfect.
Perfectly imperfect. That's what it's like to be a human. And that's transcendence.
Absolutely.
Wow, this was great. Thank you. Thanks for being here with me today.
My pleasure. Always my pleasure.